to Deep Sleep Stories. Thank you to everyone who's been listening. If these stories help you relax or fall asleep, a short review, comment, or sharing the podcast with someone who might benefit is a simple and meaningful way to support the show so that we may continue to offer it for free. Now, take a slow, gentle breath and let's begin tonight's story.
Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories. Take a moment to settle in, letting your shoulders drop and your breath slow. You've chosen this moment for yourself to drift away from the busy hum of the world and into a gentle hush of rest. Tonight, you'll be invited on a journey through a rainy evening in Boston, wandering along secret streets illuminated by soft, wavering lights. As the patter of rain soothes your ears and the faint glow of lamps guides your steps, you'll find that every corner has a hidden tale to tell. Let your breath flow in and out, calm and steady, like waves lapping on a quiet shoreline. With every slow inhale, you draw in peaceful energy. With every long exhale, you release tension from your body. Imagine soft warmth surrounding you, an invisible blanket of comfort that helps your muscles relax and your thoughts float away, becoming lighter and softer with each passing moment. You can sense how your eyelids grow heavier as you focus on the gentle sounds around you. Maybe you hear the hush of indoor silence or the distant hum of the world outside. Whatever might be lingering in your thoughts, let it dissolve, fading into a gentle background of awareness. If you notice your mind trying to hold on to worries, guide it back here to this calm space. Inhale deeply and feel the delicate weight of your body supported by the bed beneath you. Exhale slowly, releasing any tension that you might be holding in your back or shoulders. This story will softly envelop you, guiding you through a dreamy Boston landscape where rain, lamplight, and whispered secrets will soothe your senses. Let yourself drift as the city's gentle rhythm begins to weave its lullaby. Take one more quiet breath. Inhale peace and exhale any lingering distractions. Feel free to sink deeper into your pillow or position yourself in whatever way feels coziest. You are free to doze or to allow your mind to wander into the story's gentle embrace. You need do nothing except listen and relax. Soon, the perspective will shift, and you'll follow someone's quiet steps along the rain-slicked sidewalks. But for now, cherish this softness in your limbs and the calm in your breath. Let the story unfold at its own slow pace, carrying you gently along. There is no rush, no urgency, only the soothing comfort of words and the promise of restful sleep. On a mild evening in early spring, as rain gently drizzled onto the old cobblestones, a quiet figure walked along a narrow street tucked away behind the grandeur of Boston's historic buildings. The faint glow of streetlights glistened in puddles, and the sweet, earthy aroma of damp stone and fresh rainfall hung in the air. It was a night where one might glimpse delicate reflections of light dancing across wet brick walls, forming shifting patterns that told stories of their own. Even the wind seemed hushed, as if listening intently to the lullaby lullaby of raindrops. He walked carefully, noticing how the city felt, both familiar and mysterious, beneath the low-hanging clouds. Boston was a place of deep history, yet it wore its modern cloak seamlessly. Tonight, though, beneath the gentle veil of rainfall, it seemed to return to a simpler time. Lamplights flickered with a warm, golden hue, reflecting on centuries-old facades that had been witness to countless footsteps passing by. The subtle murmur of far-off traffic melded with the patter of water hitting umbrellas and ledges, forming a gentle, rhythmic backdrop. Each step he took felt as if it resonated with the heart of the city, beating softly in harmony with the rain. He remembered stories of hidden pathways, tiny alleyways that wound through quiet neighborhoods. There were whispers of courtyards that only a few locals knew, places where vines curled around iron fences and small hidden gardens flourished in the shadows. This night felt like the perfect moment to discover those places, the kind of evening that made even the most ordinary street corner shimmer with possibility. Dressed in a cozy jacket and wearing a contented expression, he pressed onward, allowing the mild drizzle to shape his path. The click of his shoes against the wet pavement produced a gentle echo that seemed to beckon him forward. He paused occasionally beneath the awnings of softly lit shops. Some displayed old books in their windows, the pages turned to show delicate sketches or antique prints. Others showcased handmade crafts that glowed under discreet golden lights. From time to time, a passing car would send a faint shimmer across the road, but it never broke the calm. It only served to highlight how peaceful the streets had become at this late hour. The city breathed in and out, immersed in the hush of the rain. Down one alley and then another, he found a secret passage lined with worn, uneven bricks. Puddles formed little mirrors on the ground, reflecting the dull glow of lanterns strung overhead. Here, between the tall walls of time-aged buildings, he sensed a particular hush, as if this narrow corridor were set apart from the bustling city only a few blocks away. The intimacy of the moment cradled him, offering solace in each droplet of rain that brushed his cheek. The world outside might be filled with deadlines, appointments, and obligations. But in this narrow alley, only gentle wonder resided. From somewhere close, the inviting scent of baked bread and brewed coffee drifted into the alley's dim corridor. He followed that warm aroma to a tiny, tucked-away cafe with a front door barely wide enough for two people to enter side by side. A single lantern flickered at the entrance, casting a gentle light on a small chalkboard menu. Inside, the soft glow of lamps revealed wooden shelves lined with faded books and porcelain teacups. A few patrons dozed contentedly over mugs of tea, their conversation hushed to a near whisper. The cafe felt like a sanctuary, an intimate corner of the city where time slowed to a thoughtful crawl, allowing every sigh and smile to linger. He settled into a corner seat by a window streaked with raindrops. Outside, the glistening pavement reflected the lamp glow, turning the street into a tapestry of shimmering gold. slightly wobbly, bore the marks of countless evenings spent in quiet communion. He ordered a simple cup of chamomile tea, hoping the warm aroma would infuse his chest with comfort. As he waited, he watched the gentle dance of raindrops trickling down the glass. Each drop carried its own soft tale, drifting and merging with others before vanishing into the night. When the tea arrived, it was in an old-fashioned ceramic cup, painted with faint traces of ivy leaves around the rim. Tiny wisps of steam rose into the air, carrying a delicate herbal fragrance that melded perfectly with the cozy interior. He lifted the cup to his lips, letting the first sip calm him from within. Each breath felt a little slower, each blink of his eyes a bit heavier. The world outside moved at its own unhurried pace. In that moment he felt an almost dreamlike sense of contentment. He watched as another patron, a gentle older man wearing a soft cap, strolled to the cafe's front door. He paused for a moment, listening to the patter of rain against the awning before stepping out into the night. The cafe door closed behind him with a soft thud, releasing a fleeting gust of cool, rain-scented air into the cozy space. The air swirl brushed past the pages of an open book on a nearby table, turning one leaf as though curious to see what lay next. A cat curled up on a stool in the corner, blinked slowly, and returned to its doze. Outside the cafe window, the narrow street glowed with a hush of golden light. The atmosphere was tender, embracing visitors like a warm hug. He finished the last of his tea, savoring the final comforting drops. Then, with a nod of gratitude to the kind barista, he stepped back out into the gentle drizzle. The lantern over the doorway flickered in farewell, droplets forming a sparkling curtain around him. He pulled his jacket a bit tighter, and the soft hush of rain welcomed him onto another quiet street. He took a turn around a corner and found himself in front of an iron gate that creaked softly in the night. Beyond the gate lay a small courtyard, hidden from sight by tall brick walls covered in creeping vines. One had to look closely to realize there was a path behind those rustling leaves. A single lamp illuminated the narrow walkway, creating a warm pool of light on the damp stones. This was a kind of passage that felt like stepping into another world, a pocket of solitude that existed parallel to the city's hustle. He could almost imagine centuries of footsteps passing through, each leaving a faint echo behind. Stepping inside, he was greeted by a mosaic of old tiles beneath his feet. Faded by time, these tiles depicted floral designs in muted hues of green and brown. Low hedges lined the walkway, and the smell of damp soil mingled with the lingering scent of spring blossoms. The raindrops here seemed softer, quieter, as though the courtyard itself were hushing them to a gentle lullaby. Far above, the dark sky framed a slice of moonlight whenever the clouds shifted, casting a faint gleam on the highest edges of the brick walls. Near the center stood a small stone bench. It looked well worn by the years, the surface smooth from countless visitors who had paused under the shelter of ivy-laced trellises. He approached the bench with a respectful hush, as if not to disturb the hidden magic of this place. Letting out a soft sigh, he sat, appreciating the raindrops drumming gently on the leaves above. A watery glow from the lamp revealed the shimmering threads of spider silk stretched across the garden corners, each one catching a droplet here and there, twinkling like tiny stars. He closed his eyes and allowed his senses to absorb the quiet beauty. The low resonance of thunder rumbled in the distance, a comforting reminder of nature's lullaby. Each breath he took felt steeped in tranquility, moist air filling his lungs with a refreshing calm. Even the mild chill of the evening breeze seemed pleasant, like a cool hand placed gently on a warm forehead. Time appeared to slow down, drawing him into the moment. There were no pressing tasks, no urgent voices, only the perpetual sound of soft rain, the faint glow of the lamp, and the reassuring presence of Boston's centuries-old spirit. When at last he rose from the bench, he felt lighter, as though a gentle hand had lifted worry from his shoulders. Stepping back out through the iron gate, he found another winding street that led into a hushed residential area. Here, the row houses were painted in cozy hues, navy, maroon, and sage, each facade topped with decorative trim and adorned by softly lit bay windows. Raindrops glistened on the decorative railings in the tiny front gardens. The golden light from within these homes revealed silhouettes of people reading, sipping tea, and quietly living out their nightly routines. As he passed by, he imagined the comforting warmth of each household, the soft murmur of conversations, and the gentle chime of utensils in kitchens preparing late-night snacks. Even the delicate glow of table lamps seemed to promise gentle dreams. A cat might be curled up on a rug by the fireplace. A half-finished knitting project might rest on an armchair. Each scene felt like a snippet of a lullaby, ensuring that all was well. Beneath the watchful patter of rain, the street itself was lined with thick oak trees, their spring leaves shaking off droplets that glimmered under the subtle gleam of overhead lamps. He came upon a little footbridge that spanned a narrow canal, one of those hidden waterways that crisscross certain parts of the city. Leaning on the railing, he watched the raindrops ripple across the water's surface. Street lights along the canal cast elongated reflections, and the gentle current carried leaves downstream in a slow, meandering dance. The water's soft lapping and the subdued city sounds made for a lullaby-like atmosphere that seemed to cradle every passerby. A duck, ruffling its feathers near the bank, gave a soft quack as though greeting the solitary traveler. He offered a kind smile and watched as the duck drifted away. Further along, he discovered an old bookstore nestled between larger buildings, its wooden sign swaying slightly in the breeze. The sign was carved with intricate lettering, and the windows displayed rows of leather-bound volumes. A single lamp inside was left on, illuminating the dust motes that danced in the air behind the glass. Though the bookstore had closed for the night, its quiet presence seemed to whisper invitations for another time. He lingered a moment, peering through the window, as though he might spot a hidden figure bent over ancient tomes. But no one was there, only the silent guardianship of stories waiting to be read. Continuing on, he found a smaller lane branching off from the main path. It was marked by an aged plaque set into the brick, a historical marker indicating a once significant site. The lane itself was layered with history, its stones worn smooth by thousands of feet over the centuries. Oil lamps, preserved for their old-world charm, flickered in metal brackets. They bathed the close walls in a warm glow that danced with each gust of wind. As he walked, he heard the faint echo of his footsteps, magnified by the narrowness of the passage, giving the sensation of stepping into a timeless dimension. Emerging from the lane, he entered a petite square. In its center stood a modest statue of a long-forgotten local hero, cloaked in moss and time's gentle touch. Low, manicured hedges enclosed the square, and a few ornate benches were placed around its perimeter. The rain, which had started as a mild drizzle, now took on a gentle rhythm, steady but not overwhelming, as though the clouds were singing the city a lullaby to herald the night. He strolled across the square, feeling a sense of gratitude for this hidden pocket of peace. Lanterns set at each corner cast soft beams, giving the square a cozy storybook charm. A tall clock tower rose at the square's edge, the clock face dimly lit, hands moving ever so slowly. Its softly chiming bells sounded in the distance, marking the passing of another quiet hour. He paused, gazing up at the tower as each chime reverberated through the damp air. The sound was comforting, reminiscent of lullabies that anchor a drifting mind, reminding one that time flows gently onward, even in these secluded moments. The statue's shadow stretched over the wet stones, and he allowed his gaze to follow the lines of the sculpture, the silent sentinel of the square. He turned onto another stretch of road leading toward a neighborhood with slightly more modern architecture. Still, the old-world charm lingered. Brick buildings were illuminated by subdued lighting, and along the sidewalks, vintage lamps with ornate metalwork cast patterned shadows. Here and there, a few windows displayed a faint glow from tall reading lamps. The hush of tires on wet pavement played like a faint percussion, blending effortlessly with the soft hiss of rainfall. A sense of tranquility wrapped the street corners, as if the city itself was mindful of allowing its inhabitants to rest. A gentle craving for warmth pulled at him, so when he spotted a small bakery with its sign still lit, he ventured in. The bakery's interior was cozily lit by overhead lamps shaped like lanterns, and the air was thick with the comforting aroma of freshly baked pastries. A lone worker, quietly wiping down the counters, greeted him with a nod. He chose a simple pastry, something with delicate layers and a hint of sweetness, and cradled it in his hands. appreciating the softness. Each bite was like a promise of comfort, dissolving slowly on his tongue as he savored the buttery richness and the subtle hint of sugar. Finishing his pastry, he stepped back out into the night. The raindrops felt cooler now, yet the warmth in his chest lingered. He thought of how the old and the new mingled so seamlessly in Boston. Even on a quiet, rainy night, the city's spirit thrummed gently like a violin playing a lullaby on a distant stage. A cozy sense of contentment accompanied him as he drifted from one softly lit street to the next, noticing every subtle shift in architecture and ambiance. He wandered past a stretch of old row houses with large front stoops. Lanterns flickered near carved wooden doors, and thin curtains glowed with subdued lamplight from within. Baskets of spring flowers hung under eaves, their petals catching the raindrops like tiny jewels. Now and then, a mild breeze would pluck a petal from its bloom, sending it drifting onto the wet sidewalk. He paused to admire how even a fallen flower petal could appear graceful under the gentle dance of water and light, reminding him that beauty often reveals itself in the simplest moments. At a corner where two quiet streets met, he noticed a tall lamp post that cast an unusually wide circle of light. Beneath it stood an old telephone booth, rare in this day and age, painted a muted red with a slightly rusted handle and panels of foggy glass. The scene felt like something plucked from a book of urban fairy tales. He approached, peering through the panes, and found the booth was empty except for a faint whiff of old paper and rain-soaked air. Despite its disuse, it stood valiantly under the steady drizzle, a gentle relic of a time when voices traveled along cables rather than invisible signals in the air. He drifted onward, eventually reaching a narrow tree-lined street overlooking a small park. Leafy branches arched overhead, creating a natural canopy that caught the rain, turning the droplets into a soft chorus. Lanterns placed at intervals along the pathway provided a gentle glow, and under their light the wet pavement gleamed like polished glass. Each lamppost wore a halo of mist, lending the scene an ethereal, almost otherworldly beauty. The hush was profound, broken only by the tranquil drip of water from leaves and the subdued whisper of his footsteps. In the center of the park stood a gazebo with a simple, elegant design. Wooden beams supporting a gently sloping roof. The path leading to it was lined with delicate shrubs, their leaves dotted with raindrops that shimmered under the lantern's glow. He stepped inside, momentarily sheltered from the rain. The rhythmic drops on the rooftop created a soothing melody, akin to a lullaby orchestrated by nature. He leaned against the rail, gazing out at the park's small pond where the surface rippled under the persistent drizzle. A single swan, white as moonlight, floated calmly on the water, its reflection fractured by tiny waves. Time seemed dreamlike, suspended in the hush of late night. He closed his eyes, letting the melodic patter of rain and the tranquil expanse of the park fill his mind. In this peaceful pocket of Boston's old streets, it was easy to forget the demands of day-to-day life. Worries faded like distant echoes, replaced by the gentle thrum of water and the warm glow of lamplights. The Swan drifted closer, its quiet grace a testament to the stillness of this moment. A faint breeze carried the scent of wet grass and spring blossoms, a reminder that new beginnings often come on quiet nights. When at last he left the gazebo, the night felt heavier with potential sleep. The city was at rest, each house and lamppost seemingly focused on weaving gentle dreams. He followed a winding path back toward the heart of the old neighborhoods, passing beneath archways of ivy and hearing the soft trickle of hidden fountains. The stone buildings towered like silent guardians, their warm windows beckoning travelers to find refuge. It was as though the city itself invited him to yield to its embrace, to let go of any lingering tension and simply be. He discovered another courtyard, smaller than the first, lit by just one low lamp. In the center, an old well sat encircled by a short stone wall. Moss crept along its edges, shining from the raindrops that clung there. Gently he ran his hand across the smooth stones, feeling the cool dampness against his palm. The well had likely seen ages pass, each generation pausing to draw water, share stories, or simply rest. For a moment he pictured a time long ago, wooden buckets creaking, whispered conversations traveling through the still night air, neighbors banding together in the glow of lanterns and friendship. As the hour grew later, the rain softened further, becoming a delicate mist that traced faint outlines across the air. Moving down one more narrow lane, he glimpsed the lights of a small inn, its sign depicting a sleeping fox beneath a starry sky. A single lamp illuminated the entrance, painting the ancient wooden doors in gentle gold. He paused, contemplating the warmth inside, but felt compelled to continue just a little longer, savoring the hush of the night. The inn's light lingered in his peripheral vision as he turned into the darkest part of the lane, where only a faint glow guided his steps. He arrived at a crossroads where an iron fence enclosed a modest garden. Through the bars, faint flickers suggested a private courtyard, perhaps belonging to a hidden retreat. The gate was locked, but from within came the gentle strum of a distant guitar. The notes were slow and tender, weaving through the fabric of the rain. He paused, enthralled by the melody that seemed to fuse effortlessly with the rhythmic droplets, tapping on leaves and stone. The moment felt intimate, as though he were witnessing a small, precious secret of the city. When the guitar ceased, he moved on, carrying the memory like a soft echo in his mind. The final stretch of his walk brought him by a row of colonial-style street lamps, leading to a quiet plaza. High above, the clouds were beginning to thin. A few slivers of moonlight broke through, lending a silvery sheen to the wet cobblestones. It was as if the sky was gently unveiling itself, reassuring the city that even in the deepest night, light can find its way. His eyelids felt heavy, lulled by the soothing hush of the evening and the gentle cascade of watery reflections. Boston's secret streets, hidden courtyards, and softly glowing lamps seemed to have told their tales. The city had always brimmed with history, but on this rainy night it spoke in whispers. The hush of the rain, the glint of lantern light, and the subtle presence of past and present merging together created a comforting lullaby. Each step on the wet pavement, every soft gust of wind, cradled a promise of rest. His heart felt full yet light, as though the night air had gently carried away any burdens he had brought with him. Now, with the drizzle continuing its quiet serenade, it was time for the day to wind down fully. The hush of sleep settled over the city, each building and lamp welcoming the soothing balm of rest. His final steps took him back toward a welcoming door, a place where he could close his eyes and drift into slumber. The memories of secret gardens and soft lights dancing in his dreams. He slipped into the warm interior where a soft glow and a gentle hush enveloped him like an embrace from an old friend. Rain still tapped lightly on the window pane, creating a gentle metronome for his thoughts. The steady rhythm suggested a lullaby woven by nature itself. He placed his damp jacket aside, letting the warmth of the room envelop him. Outside, the lampposts continued to glow, but their light was subdued by the softening curtain of rain. Every drop, every glow, every calm breath was an invitation to peace. The hush of midnight lingered, ready to cradle all who yearned for rest. His body felt comfortably heavy, his limbs ready to succumb to the pull of sleep. He changed into something warm and soft, then eased onto a comfortable bed. The sheets were cool at first touch, but they quickly felt pleasant as he settled under them. The gentle drum of raindrops lulled his senses, as if each patter whispered, "Rest now, all is well." He remembered fragments of the night's wanderings, silent passageways, golden flickers in puddles, a cozy cafe with chamomile tea. Each recollection soothed him further, drawing him deeper into relaxation. There was a faint hum from the heater in the corner, blending seamlessly with the song of water on glass. And so, in the heart of this ancient city, night's gentle lullaby continued, weaving together stories of the past, comfort of the present, and the promise of deep, renewing slumber. The hush of the sky and the glow of the street lamps embraced each tired soul, inviting them to let go, to surrender to warmth and stillness. The world beyond slowed to a hush, a final act of kindness to all who carried a weary mind. The spirit of the rain-washed streets lingered, a tender reminder that there is beauty in quiet reflection, in hidden alleys, and in the simple act of letting oneself drift. May the soft memory of those lights and the tender patter of rain guide you now into an even deeper calm. Let your breath be slow and steady. Let your muscles feel heavy and supported. Every inhale draws in the gentle echoes of Boston's secret corners, and every exhale releases any last bit of tension. Give yourself permission to float in that tranquil space between awareness and sleep, where each droplet of rain is a note in a lullaby that sings. You are safe. You can rest. Close your eyes. Let the images of the lamplight and the damp, reflective streets fade into a warm blur. Let the hush of raindrops become a rhythmic backdrop to your slowing pulse. There is nothing else you need to do, nowhere you must go. This is your time to surrender to the soft night, to be cradled by the same serenity that settled over the cobblestone lanes. Drift, dear traveler, into the quiet hush where dreams form and comfort grows. Good night, dear traveler. Sleep well. Let the dreams of rainy nights and secret streets envelop you, carrying you gently on a tide of deep, restorative rest. The city's hidden gardens, its quiet canals, and its flickering lanterns shall watch over you until dawn. In their soft, golden glow, find peace. In the lingering patter of midnight rain, find lullabies. And in the gentle embrace of sleep, find solace for body and mind, so that when morning comes, you awaken renewed, quietly carrying the memory of these streets in your heart. Sleep now and let the world be gentle around you. Good night and sweet dreams.